SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
You're listening to Sports Talk Mississippi On Demand, presented by Pearl River Resort. Escape to Choctaw, Mississippi and enjoy world-class gaming, the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, and Geyser Falls Water Park. Escape to Pearl River Resort.
Sports Talk Mississippi is on the air. Sports Talk Mississippi is powered by C Spire. Power your home or business with C Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C Spire. C Spire Fiber powers Super Talk Mississippi. To the junction, in the Grove, and to the top. This is Sports Talk Mississippi. On your radio and in the game, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Your long national nightmare continues. It's just Brian Haydad here with you on a Thursday afternoon. Sports Talk Mississippi. Appreciate you guys joining me here. I'm in the Pearl River Resort studios. Pearl River Resort. I wish my feet up were by the pool at Pearl River Resort right now, perhaps with a tropical drink in hand. But yours could be. All you got to do is book your stay right now at pearlriverresort.com, and you can have a great weekend, play some golf, eat some fantastic food, and just enjoy yourself. Do it. Make a weekend stay this weekend at Pearl River Resort, pearlriverresort.com. C Spire text line is open to you at 601-879-4395. With C Spire, it's easier than ever to get all the devices you want in one move with the Ultimate Connect bundle. Right now, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet, plus 100 gigs of data for just $90. That includes the new iPhone 17 and Samsung Galaxy S26 for free, and the free smartwatch and tablet to go with it. So don't wait. There's more to see. Visit cspire.com or stop by your local C Spire store today. C Spire, inspired by you.
Oh, me?
You. Yes, you, Will East. How are we today?
I got to get a haircut.
How can you tell?
I look like a BG. What are you talking about?
So that podcast I was telling you about yesterday when with Will Sasso and Dan Soder. You know how some like bald guys, they have like the hair, it goes like around?
Yeah.
I had never heard it referred to as a cul-de-sac before. They said Hulk Hogan had the cul-de-sac.
The cul-de-sac is a good description. Oh, that's gold, man.
It's like I've never heard that.
I've always just called it the horseshoe, but yeah, cul-de-sac is better.
Cul-de-sac is unbelievable.
Got that cul-de-sac.
Oh, man.
It was once a full neighborhood, but the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it used to be a roundabout. Now it's just a cul-de-sac. That's fantastic. Somebody mentions on the C Spire text line, watching World Cup on Telemundo. I do not understand Spanish. All you need to know is goal, of which the Mexicans have already scored one. Mexico leading South Africa 1-0 at the half in the opener of the 2026 the World Cup. So we'll do a little World Cup preview tomorrow. We'll talk a little soccer on this show tomorrow. Why not? But calm down, just a little. It'll be all right. But before we do that, we talked about it yesterday. The SEC did put out the kickoff times, the kickoff windows, if you will, for all 16 schools. Now, later in the show, we're going to go through it week by week. I'm going to give you the game of the week for each one. Okay. Spoiler for September 19th. You already know. You don't need me to tell you. But let's start with Ole Miss. If you were listening to Thunder and Lightning last night, you already heard Mississippi State's. We will go over the Bulldogs again, though, for those who didn't. We already knew the first 3 weeks of the season, as we said. 6:30 p.m. on a Sunday, September the 6th, for again the game against Louisville for the Rebels. That game, of course, in Nashville. 6:45 against Charlotte. That is not Ole Miss's streaming game. That is an ESPN2 or SEC Network kickoff. And then, of course, as we know, 6:30 ABC against LSU in what's the preliminary game of the season right this second. Then we get into the stuff we didn't know. And it starts with at Florida. That's a flex game. Right off the bat, the Rebels have a flex game. So if you are in the flex window, it means that you are either going to kick off between 2:30 and 3:30 or 5 and 7. Those times are Eastern. So could go. I'm sorry. Those times are central. So could be a 2:30 ABC game. Could be a 3:15 SEC Network game. Could be 6 o'clock on ESPN. Could be 6:30 on the SEC Network. Whatever. Those are your options for that game at Florida. Same thing the next week at Vanderbilt for the Rebels. A flex game. So either an afternoon game or an evening game. Next home game is October the 17th against the Missouri Tigers. That is in the afternoon window. So that means, in all likelihood, that'll be either the 2:30 ABC game or the 3:15 SEC Network game.
Okay.
My guess is, I'll just play the game here. If Ole Miss is 4-1 or 5-0, that's going to be an ABC game. If they're somehow 3-2, got probably going to SEC Network. Of course, it depends on what Missouri is as well. Flex game for the October 24th road game against the Texas Longhorns. I've already looked at that week because State has a flex game that week as well. I've already looked at that schedule. I'll be shocked if that's not a night game in Austin, but we shall see.
Yeah, although there's some competition there for that.
There's some. That's a good week of college football.
Yeah,
I'll just say that. Not that there's a bad week, but that's a good one. Early kick for the Auburn game. So that game is probably going to kick off between 11 and noon. And my guess is we're going to roll right out of College Game Day into Ole Miss Auburn on ESPN, if I had to guess.
Probably so.
So there you go. Flex for the Georgia game. Could end up a night game, but that is a loaded day of college football as well. Last road game of the year at Oklahoma. That is an afternoon kick. So you're talking about they're probably looking at that as a 2:30 ABC game. You probably expect both those teams to be in the playoff discussion. Makes sense to have that one there. And then the last two games of the year are going to kick off at the same time for the Rebels. Their SEC Network Plus game against Wofford is an 11 a.m. kick. Mississippi State's on spoil. It is at noon. Both teams doing the same thing, right? Let's play this FCS team early, get the game over with, and we get onto the short week of Egg Bowl prep. So an 11 a.m. kick. Go ahead and let you guys know now. If you're listening and you've got a grandparent who doesn't understand things, that game is not on regular television. It is streaming only. You're going to have to go set it up for them.
Meemaw, I got it. Okay, I'll take care of it.
I'll be over there. I'll be over there. You get to watch your Rebels, Meemaw. It'll be okay. Just letting you know now. And then, of course, 11 a.m. on Black Friday, the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State versus Ole Miss, 11 a.m. So for the Rebels, night game, two night games to start the year at home with Charlotte and LSU. Then you don't have but one more chance to have a night game at home?
So, yeah, there's two things that stand out as not many night games after the LSU game.
There's a chance that you don't play another night game if you're Ole Miss after the LSU game. The Georgia game is a flex game, so that could very easily be a 2:30 kick. Ole Miss versus Georgia could be the ABC game of the week right there. That's a surprising schedule, especially when I tell you Mississippi State's, they did a little bit better in terms of getting night games. So
which is surprising.
It is. That is very. Yes, I agree. I agree with you, Will East. I don't know what we got there. So
I don't know, but the only early games for Ole Miss, Auburn.
Yeah.
And then the two at the end of the season.
Yeah, but the Friday game, we knew that weeks ago. Yeah. That's fine. And then again with the Wofford game, it just makes sense logistically, right? You have a short week. That's a game where if everything goes according to plan, your starters are out at the half, early third quarter. Get them off the field, start working on Egg Bowl prep immediately, and get to it. That playing that game early in the day makes a ton of sense. Plus, if you're a fan of college football, it means get the game that your team's going to win by 50 out of the way so you can enjoy the rest of the games that day.
Let me tell you, also, I like the early game against Auburn because that lands on Halloween.
Yeah.
And for many years, Ole Miss played Auburn on Halloween.
And LSU for many years.
And LSU. And let me tell you something.
Weird things.
Weird things start happening at the witching hour.
For you, as a new parent, you'll be able to get out and trick-or-treat that night.
Yes.
Now,
I don't think mine will be trick-or-treating.
Well, let me tell you something right now. I'm going to give you a little inside here. That's the best thing ever. You just take the kid around. The kid's too young for candy. So whose candy is that, Will East? That's Dad's candy is
My
who that
candy.
is. That's your candy. You get 100% dad tax in the first
I'm going to
year.
do a Bernie Sanders dad tax. Okay, I take it all right?
I am
It's all
once
mine.
again asking you to give me the full-size Skittles. The full-size Snickers. Yes. You take like my youngest, the first time we took her out, she was a monkey. She had a little monkey costume. And I just took her and she knocked on the door and I held up her bucket for her and thank you and we walked out. She didn't eat any of that. I ate it all.
You're smart, man. You're a wise sage, sir.
Now next year, she goes into a lower tax bracket. She can go into like the 30% range.
Yeah.
All right, but year one, she's in that top tier
Yeah.
of tax bracket.
We taxing like California over here, all right?
So I had not seen the Ole Miss schedule until doing this segment. Had not taken a look at it. I'm surprised at the lack of night games. So we'll talk more about that as we go. All right, Mississippi State. When we come back, we'll look at the Bulldogs and what their kickoff window situation looks like. I think for a team coming off of a 5-8 season, they did about as good as you could have possibly hoped for. So we'll talk about that when we come back. Just getting started with you on a Thursday. Sports Talk Mississippi. Back with you after this.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Sports Talk Mississippi.
You know I love sports.
On Super Talk Mississippi.
Back on Sports Talk Mississippi. I'm Brian Haydad. Will East is in Studio X. Michael Borky, God knows where he is. He's on vacation. He left us high and dry. Can you believe him?
Although he did do a Rebel report last night, apparently.
See, there's the other side of that coin. I'm making fun of him for not being here, but then I'm going to make fun of him like, you're on vacation, don't do work. You're on vacation. They grant you these days. It's part of our compensation. Take the day off. I could have done the Rebel report. I've been fine.
You did a great job yesterday with your interviews. I want to let you know that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We got some great interviews coming up. Errol Robinson is going to join us in about 15 minutes. The former Rebel shortstop will join us today. John Talty will join us at the top of the 4 o'clock hour, assuming his mattress gets delivered on time. That's what I was told. So we may have to juggle that schedule a little bit with him. He's got a mattress delivery happening. But if he's supposed to join us at 4:05, talk a little college football. And then from Omaha, Sam Hutchins of the Clarion Ledger is going to join us to give us a little talk about the Rebels as their practice day today. You got to watch a little batting practice of Ole Miss out there at, I believe it's Charles Schwab Field now. It's not TD Ameritrade any longer. All right, let's switch over to Mississippi State. As we were talking about earlier, TV schedule windows were done last night. Again, with State, we knew the first three in the last one. We knew 6:30 kickoff for the ULM game. That game is on ESPNU. 2:30 kick on CBS at Minnesota in week 2. Still haven't made a decision whether or not we'll see what the lay of the land is in Minnesota before I make any travel plans. I don't want to take any unnecessary chances with my safety.
And by the way, I want to point out something that I don't know if you caught, but the SEC Sports, their official website, they left that game off the list.
Of course they did, because they don't control it. It's a CBS game. Yeah, that's part of the Big Ten's.
So they completely left that game. It's not even listed on their their deal.
It's like if somebody from New York was giving you a place to go take your car, they wouldn't give you any of the Jersey places. It's the same thing. They're not friends of ours. 3:15 Central kick for Mississippi State at South Carolina. Of course, it'll be 4:15 local time. And then you get into the new stuff. A night SEC game. State did not have one of those last year. Missouri comes to town on September 26th. That will be between 5 and 7 p.m. kick for Mississippi State. So a night SEC game. Good. Didn't have one last year. Back-to-back early games, home and away. Early against Alabama. Can I be honest with you? Good. Let's just get that over with, huh? Let's just get that over with.
Same thing
and go
the next
about
week?
go about the rest of the day. You know. Well, let's talk about that in just a little greater detail. State's off the next week, but then they go back to the game. They heard our prayers, Will East. Mississippi State at LSU in the early window. And
I cannot believe it.
I just don't understand why we have to have an early kickoff. It's just, it's just different down here, and we like to have late kickoffs for our fans, and they didn't give us one. So, 11 a.m., my guess is we'll roll right out of College Game Day to Tiger Stadium for Mississippi State and LSU. Do I think Mississippi State will win that game? No. But do I think you got a much better chance of winning it when the sun's up? I do.
Absolutely.
I absolutely do. Flex window game for October the 24th with the Oklahoma Sooners. The first ever trip for the Oklahoma Sooners to Davis Wade Stadium. Halloween night. See, my kids are old, so I don't have to worry about trick-or-treating anymore. Halloween night, Mississippi State at Texas. I'm old enough.
Well, last year was the nightmare.
Yeah, that was the problem. This year, I'll just put a bucket of candy out in front of the house. Say, please take one piece. I'm watching you, and I'll just be sitting inside watching the football game. A flex window game for Mississippi State on November 7th with Vanderbilt. When I'm looking at it from this perspective, talking about night games, right? Look, is Vanderbilt at Mississippi State likely to be the 2:30 ABC game? I would submit that it is not. Probably a 3:15 kick, right? Well, that's November 7th. By the time you get to the second half, you're in the light. You're under the lights. That's a night game, as far as I'm concerned. So for State, who last year with the LED lights, they only really had the one true night game, and it was awesome. It was the Arizona State game. But they'll get a couple of opportunities here. Early window for Auburn, Mississippi State, Auburn. So that's kind of a weird coincidence that both Mississippi teams, their games against Auburn are in the early window for whatever reason, but that'll be the early one. State will kick off at noon in their SEC Network Plus game against Tennessee Tech. A noon kick there, so they'll kick off an hour after Ole Miss. It's just going to be a nightmare in the state of Mississippi of old people just trying to figure out where the Bulldogs and Rebels are. They're like, I just don't get it. Do I get SEC Network Plus? Do I get that channel? No, you don't. Just put it on your phone. You'll be all right.
Or you have a dispute like you did last year with YouTube, Disney, and YouTube, and so you didn't have the game.
I still get emails from DirecTV for that 2 weeks that I was a DirecTV customer while the YouTube carrier debate was going on, and I just want to send back like, you knew what this was. A little fling. That's all it was.
A one-time thing.
As soon as I got my quad box back, I kicked you to the curb. They're offering me all sorts of deals at DirecTV. They're like, here's 6 months free. Just whatever. Just come back. Like, absolutely not. I'm sorry. YouTube TV.
You wanted a long-term relationship, but this was a one-time thing.
It's like Fatal Attraction. They're going to show up on my doorstep one day. Will not be ignored, Brian.
Have a rabbit in a boiling pot.
One of my cats. And then, as we mentioned earlier, the 11 o'clock game for the Battle for the Golden Egg. Have you booked my hotel room yet in Oxford? I am not getting up.
No, I have
at
not.
3 in the morning to drive to Oxford. I'm not doing that. I just want to let you know that right now.
So, looking at the schedule, I know we're going to go through the rest of it.
Yeah.
You're going to pick out the best games, but I just wanted to go through LSU's. They got a lot of night games, as you can imagine.
That,
but
yeah.
they do have some. They either got the night or the early game. Not a whole lot of flexes in there as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
7:45, night game.
We know that. The fact that they got one, I guarantee our friend Matt Moscona right now is on his show just belaboring the point that LSU was subjected to the horror of a 11 a.m. kick.
But see, they got an early game against Arkansas at the end of the season.
But that's on the road, though.
Yeah, that's right.
That's on the road. They don't care about they don't care about early games on the road. They're happy to play those. But God forbid that you there'd be a speck of sunlight in the sky when they kick the ball off at Tiger Stadium. When I saw that, Will, yesterday, I cackled. It was a legit like an evil professor. I was so happy to see LSU get an 11 a.m. game, and the fact that it was State, that just sweetened the pot for me. Made me very happy.
It just makes me angry.
Why? Oh, was that your Kiffin? Was that supposed to be Kiffin?
No, that's me.
It makes you angry.
It just makes me irrationally angry.
There's such an easy solution to this, right? And I've mentioned it a few times on this show. Now you have 5 home games, 4 home games. You know, it does differentiate. But when it was 4 and 4, my thought process was always every SEC team knows going into the season, you get one game that's going to be kicking off in the early window. One home game will kick off in the night window, and the other 2 just are what they are. And then your non-conference games, you schedule them however we'll schedule them however you want to make it work. That's fine. But give everybody, you can do this, right? Everybody in the conference gets a night game. And it doesn't have to be on ESPN. You can put it on SEC Network. You can put it on wherever. But everybody also knows they're getting an 11 a.m. kick. They're going to get one. And then your other 2 games, you get what you get. And LSU would probably end up every year with 3 night games and the one 11 a.m. game. And that's fine. And, they're not going to make LSU Alabama or LSU Georgia or LSU Texas an 11 a.m. game, right? That's always going to have a later kick. But, LSU Mississippi State, if LSU's playing Vandy, something like that, 11 a.m. Suck it up. It's not any hotter in Louisiana than it is in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, certainly Florida. Florida plays 11 a.m. games all the time. It'll be just fine. You'll live.
But they got a couple flex games.
I had a dream the president came to Ole Miss LSU to support Lane. Oh, my God.
That's a terrible dream.
That's an awful idea. I don't want any part of that. That's right, I'm going. I'll be there, Lane Kiffin. I once said about him, great man. I think one of the best coaches in college football. He calls me all the time and asks for advice. I give it to him. No, we don't need that. I don't need to be told.
I said run the hook and ladder. He ran the hook and ladder. Why did he run the hook and ladder? I don't know why.
I don't know why he ran that. I don't know. I don't need to get an email or a phone call from like, hey, you need to be at the gate 7 hours before kickoff.
7 hours. They're going to search your bags.
Yeah. What's your last name, sir? You're cutting this line over here, please. Is this young lady related to you? My daughter's standing there like, no. She's Emily Smith. Let her in. Don't subject her to this. All right, when we come back, former Ole Miss Rebel Errol Robinson, 2014 College World Series team. He'll be joining us here on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Back in just a minute, talking a little Ole Miss baseball here on Sports Talk Mississippi.
From the sea.
Let's go.
This is your new home for exclusive sports coverage here in the Magnolia State.
Sports Talk Mississippi
On Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi here with you on a Thursday afternoon. We go to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Former Ole Miss star Errol Robinson joins the program. He was with the Rebels in 2014 when they made that trip to the College World Series. And Errol, when you think back to that team, what was the defining characteristic? How was that team? What was the identity of that baseball team?
Well, brother, let me first and foremost say thank you for the reminder at the walk-up song, man. That felt nice. That was good to hear. It's been a little while. I appreciate that. It seems that the identity is rather relative to what it is now. It seems that they've got a great deal of leadership in that clubhouse, in the locker room, and obviously it stems from the head coach, Coach B, doing his job, putting together a roster. But it's funny, I was watching media days, not too long ago. And folks are talking about Hunter Elliott, coming back and obviously having performed in the College World Series before. Some of the transfer guys that are older guys. That leadership is something that was around. It was around in Oxford in 2014. A team full of older guys. Me being 17 and 18 as a freshman. looking up and seeing Will Allen behind the plate, a guy who had played, a guy who had the voice, and certainly the size, to believe he was a leader. But I think that's kind of the word that Coach Bianco used was mantra. Mantra. It was they kind of came together. The leaders came together and really, it seemed like propelled the team forward. To finish out the year, especially after not doing, not seemingly not performing how they would like in the SEC tournament.
You mentioned the similarity between this year's team and the team that you played on there. One thing where they're not similar is power. This is a team now that knocks the ball out of the ballpark with a lot of regularity. I went back and looked. I was surprised. Only 42 home runs as a team in 2014. But with the pitching you guys had, it just wasn't that much of a problem. Was that the offensive approach, like, hey, let's go out there, manufacture some runs. If we put 4 or 5 on the board, we're sure to win?
And I'd say that amongst many other things, we had a pretty versatile team, I'd say, my freshman year. That mix of older guys and some young talent, some guys that came off the bench, that may not have been the pinnacle guy, that was spoken about, but still won us, 3, 4, 5 ball games, in the course of the season. And that's throughout the season. It's funny. It's funny, this game. The game is an interesting game that we play. And, there are plenty of different players that come from, all shapes and sizes. And kind of like we're talking about with power, these guys, in 2014, it was a team that was dynamic and had speed and can really cover ground in the infield and outfield. And now in 2026, and even 25 with Judd, holy smokes, that kid is unreal. It's a joy to watch him step into the box and, you're going to get a competitive AB and he might just hit one to the moon.
So when we talk about that season and that run to Omaha, the play that you make, that relay throw, is a play that comes up. People talk about it a lot of times. But what's the play, not necessarily that you made, but when you think about that run to Omaha, that Errol Robinson remembers the most fondly?
Man, I'll tell you, and it's it's not too hard to remember. The play that got us to Omaha. The ground ball up the middle, had a decent batter runner, chugging down the line. And just, watching Sykes stretch, and it's close out of my hand. And, I feel like you could hear a pin drop, in the stadium in a hostile environment in Louisiana. And to watch the umpires scream out, and watching the dugout flood out of out of our corners. And, that play right there, man, I'm sitting here now, got goosebumps. I'll never forget. I'll never forget that one in particular. That one kind of etched into my memory.
What's the biggest difference? When you play at Ole Miss, you play in front of big crowds. You go on the road at LSU, at Mississippi State, at Texas A&M, you play in front of big crowds. What's the difference between the crowds you play at in the SEC and the crowd in Omaha? If you pack up Omaha like they did in 22, I'd say it's just Swayze Field plus some. But it's maybe just it maybe the hostility of LSU, and I didn't play LSU in the World Series, but I played in Baton Rouge and felt that that atmosphere. Also we succeeded in that atmosphere. So not to give LSU too much credit, I can't do it on this radio. We can agree on that one, yes.
But it might just be another level of focus. It's the College World Series. You're however many games away from being crowned champion. And I remember I've seen clips obviously and vaguely remember the feeling of being in the World Series. Because I think for one it's just another game, but also me and kind of who I was on the field. Those are the moments that I live for. I wanted that moment. I dreamt of that moment. So, what was it to me besides, well, here we go. Finally, I've been waiting,
So I had Tim Alco on the show yesterday, and I asked him this question. It's a very big question, but I'd like as much of a detailed answer as you can give when I ask, what kind of coach is Mike Bianco?
Oh, man, that's a good one. That's a good question. Man, I wish I would have known. I would have phoned Tim before the interview. Man, what kind of coach? I think it's truthfully deeper than that with Coach Bianco. It's what kind of man is Coach Bianco? And he is a tremendous man. I say this, and maybe I am biased. The fella played me 3 years, right? Roo-rah for Coach Bianco. No, but I really do believe, and I mean it. I'm being funny, but I mean it. He is a terrific human being. And obviously it leaks out, and kind of trickles onto his program and throughout. His coaching staff is also tremendous. Every single guy, and I don't mean that that Clement, even though he can and is very capable, but Clement, I'm not talking about his ability to teach hitting. I mean his ability to relate to people. And his care factor, right? And that's kind of as I look into I'm a hitting coach now at Georgetown. It's something that I that I treasured during my time there was Bianco and what he was able to teach that was outside of baseball. 10-year professional career. Getting into and changing realms and now taking the cleats off and trying to serve the way that I was served as a young player. That was instrumental in my life, and that's the duty of a coach, and so that's why I say he's a great man, because the coaching part can come easily because he is such a top tier human.
So obviously you've had some opportunities to see the Rebels this season. What do you think about this team?
Yeah, obviously a good team. Shoot, they landed in Omaha, right? They're one of the best 8 in 2026 in the country, right? So they're obviously very good. They're very good, and this is rankings and all that aside. It takes something to play this many games, and end up, especially to get hot at the end, and find a way. And that's what makes the game so terrific, is that you can, the best teams don't always necessarily end up on on top, number one. It's the teams that play the best and the most consistently, and all of the other intangibles. But the team is, to me, it's like the folks are saying it's an older team, and I haven't. I've been a bit busy, but obviously I try to catch games when I can. I still care for Coach Bianco and Clem and all the coaches there at Ole Miss. I still love them dearly. I see an older shortstop this year at Owen Pano. I see an older guy who's able to compete at the highest level and succeed, and kind of take a deep breath, in year 2, which is great to see, and I'm very excited to watch him in the World Series, and I believe that he's going to be an instrument, and possibly win a ball game, with his bat or defense. That's been great to see, especially having worked with the team in 25, as a student assistant, briefly before signing another contract. I see strength on the mound. Holy smokes. They have some terrific arms, coming out of the pen, and to start your game off, so I think if they continue to be Rebs, which is what they have shown, I think they will show very well in this World Series and quite possibly, be hoisting another College World Series championship trophy.
We've only got about 60 seconds left. I don't know if you can answer this in 60 seconds, but I'll let you have a try. What's your favorite thing about Ole Miss baseball?
Okay, clearly I'm long-winded. Man, the coolest thing is just the atmosphere and playing, in front of a crowd that seemingly cares about every outcome, and every individual player's outcome. I felt welcomed. I felt loved playing in Swayze, and then the chance to play against, top tier teams with the best coaching staff, all of the things that you hear are true about Oxford and Ole Miss. And it was easy. It was easy. I felt comfortable. I enjoyed every single day trotting out on the field, wearing Rebels across my chest with a chance to do something special in front of a crowd that cared.
Errol, really appreciate you making some time for us today with the Rebels back in Omaha. We knew we had to have somebody on from that 2014 team. So really appreciate it, man. Thanks to you, and best of luck to you in the future.
Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate you thinking of me.
Errol Robinson, Ole Miss Rebel baseball superstar. Appreciate him joining us on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Full disclosure, Will asked me, did you know what his walkout song was? And I was like, no, I don't. He's like, oh, I've got it teed up. Buddy, you could have given me 100,000 guesses, and this would not have been the one that I had guessed for Errol Robinson. So be it. We're going to talk a little, believe it or not, NBA when we come back. History made last night in Madison Square Garden. We'll talk about it when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi.
This is Sports Talk Mississippi, right here on SuperTalk.fm, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and always live on your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station.
Not the greatest start to the World Cup. Mexico leading South Africa 2-0. 2-0, I should say. The South Africans are down to 9. We had 2 red cards today. Goodness gracious. That's rough. Like I said, we'll do a little World Cup preview tomorrow. The Americans will get going, and we'll see where it takes us. Speaking of sports, we don't talk about a lot here on Sports Talk Mississippi, but sometimes something historic happens, and you just got to do it. If you're, as you guys know, I'm a big Saints fan, and one of the great things about being a Saints fan is we can remind the Falcons at any time about 28-3. The Saints try to work it in every piece of social media that they put out. Whenever they make a fun video, there's a 28-3 reference in there. I have been known to text some friends of mine at 3:32 at 2:32 and be like, "Hey, what time is it?" And then when they come back, I was like, "Oh, so it's 28-3. Okay, thank you. I didn't know." I love to do that. We have the NBA equivalent after last night. Spurs Knicks Game 4. Spurs are cruising. 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. They lead the Knicks 81-59. Win percentage is at 98.1. It would get as high as 99.6% when Wembanyama scores to make it a 95-75 lead with 9:33 left in the game. 20-point lead, 9.5 minutes left to go. What happens from there is the Knicks come all the way back. They score the winning bucket on one of the craziest tip-ins I've ever seen, and they win the game. And we have the NBA equivalent now. I don't know what they're going to call it. It doesn't roll off the tongue like 28-3. But the Spurs were up 29. I'm sorry, they were up 20. It was 81-59. So they're up 23. And they blew it. The biggest blown lead, the largest comeback, the biggest choke job, however you want to frame it, in the history of the NBA playoffs happened last night. And I mean, I saw people on Twitter who I know don't, and I had people in my text, people texting me that I know don't watch the NBA on a regular basis. They were like, "This is incredible." I know there's a lot of you guys that aren't NBA fans, but man, these basketball games have been, this finals have been fantastic. It really has been. The Knicks lead this series 3-1. If you've watched this series, it's like you flipped a coin 4 times and it just came up tails 3 times. It's not that head sucks. It's that it's just a 50-50 thing. Now in this series, Will, the Spurs have had 2 absolute meltdown games. In Game 2, they were leading with a few seconds left. Wembanyama gets a rebound, throws the ball to a teammate who's not looking, and it goes off his back. They turn it over. The Knicks get the winning bucket. And now you blow a huge lead, and you give away the Game 4. And now it's 3-1. The series is basically over. I can't imagine that the Spurs are going to win 3 games in a row. And this is kind of like, we see this a lot of times in sports when we have a great young team. They got to get their nose bloodied a little bit, right? It happened with Jordan. Jordan had to go through Bird, and he had to go through the Pistons. And then when he finally broke through, he was the guy there. You had some of that with Kobe. He had to go through the Utah Jazz and the Spurs. And then when they were there, they were there. That young team that needs to have that moment of, we're not quite good enough yet. What this team, they don't have a veteran on this team. They don't have a guy that they can put in the starting lineup who's like, "Hey, settle down. It's going to be okay." They don't have that guy in San Antonio. They have 3 great young players who they will build their future on, including a space alien in Victor Wembanyama. But they don't have that guy who's been through the wars yet. And so, fascinating game last night. We look at this. We got one on the C Spire text line. I'm a diehard Knicks fan. We are so close now. I'm pulling for you. I got to be honest. I'm a Lakers fan. I pulled for the Spurs in the last round because the Thunder are a disease and they had to be cured. I was glad to see the Thunder out. I think the Thunder was everybody in America in the press box of Game 7. Game 7 was going on while Game 2 of the regional was going on. I'm up there. Sam Sklar is sitting next to me from the Clarion Ledger. He's a Timberwolves fan. Colin Dams from On 3 is behind us. He's a Cavs fan. Carlo Barone, Thunder and Lightning, and WCBI. He's a Pacers fan. 4 different fan bases were all like, "Go Spurs." The Thunder are not America's team, but now I'll pull for the Knicks. So good for you. Spurs scored 76 in the first half, only scored 30 in the second half of an NBA game. The Spurs, I think they had 14 three-pointers. The Spurs hit 14 threes in the first half and only hit 3 in the second half.
Wow.
I mean, the first half they could not miss. They literally could not miss. And then the second half, it just completely fell apart. So, goodness gracious.
The New York Post has the title of it. They're calling it the tip of the world.
I like that. I like that. Speaking of Knicks, a great Knicks fan is going to join us in just a few minutes. Our good friend John Talty is going to join us. Also,
He's a Knicks fan?
Oh yeah, he's from the north. Went to Maryland. He's a Jets fan too, so let him have something in his life, for God's sakes. Also, real quick, we'll have to come back to it, but Ole Miss has just announced Taylor Rabe will start Friday's game against North Carolina. That's an interesting move. We'll talk more about it when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi, just getting started on a Thursday.
You can be a part of Sports Talk Mississippi. 888-808-8637 on Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi, back with you here on a Thursday afternoon. We're back on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. John Talty from CBS Sports National College football writer. John, we were just talking about the Knicks. Are you okay? You still all right after last night?
I was telling somebody earlier that I wish that I smoked cigarettes because I needed quite a few after last night. That was a hard one to come down from, but a good situation to have. I was pretty despondent in the first half.
I bet. So, well, I won't say any more. I won't try to jinx anything. I know how sports works for you. All right, before we talk any actual football, because you know I don't like to deal into the business and all the other stuff of sports. But we got to talk about this Sorsby thing. I can't believe how bad the PR is for Texas Tech. It is really like, just embrace being the villain, guys. Just be the heel. Don't do what you're doing. What's the latest on this, and where do you see it going?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that they are doing that, right? Like, I do think that they are kind of embracing being the villain.
They weren't yesterday. They weren't yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, there's some, but I mean, I feel like Cody Campbell, some of his comments publicly, like there's a defensive-ness to it, but there's also we're not backing down, which I think is interesting, and certainly, now. With Jeffrey Kessler making, legal threats, getting allegedly the state attorney general from Texas involved, like they're definitely kind of bucking up to be in a big fight over this situation. And so it is interesting. It's funny how, I was always a little skeptical, but I think last year they were, one of the kind of darlings of the year because they had not been good, in a while. And it was kind of a fun story of look at what this, oil billionaire is trying to do. And can you build a college football playoff contender at a non-traditional powerhouse? And I think a lot of people bought into that story, and it was fun. But I think even by the end of the year, it's like, are we sure this is a good thing? There were some evil empire vibes, I feel like, brewing in Lubbock, and I think those are really starting to come to a head now. And so you're kind of basically setting up as Texas Tech versus everybody right now. And with the way the situation is, like they do have some legal, I guess, precedent on their side, and since they've already gotten one win and they're, building up an arsenal to fight back, but it's not earning them any fans throughout college football, I can tell you that much.
So we had your coworker Brandon Marcello on, I guess earlier this week, talking about this, and he just flat out asked him, does Sorsby play this year? And he said, no, I don't believe that he will. Do you agree with that sentiment?
I do. There's some skepticism, but I will say that I have had a few people in the last couple of days reiterate to me they don't think he's going to end up playing, and even kind of offering let's make a bet on it type thing. So there's some confidence there that he won't play, but we'll see. I mean, it's such a fascinating dynamic because it's obvious. And I've, I'll tell you what, I've talked to Gene Taylor, the Kansas State AD, in the past. Good guy, fun guy. The comment he gave to Ross Dellinger on the record was scintillating. I mean, that was as strong as I think I've ever seen an AD really come out about something on the record with their name attached to it. So I think that gives you a peek into the level of anger there is, not just, nationwide, but within that conference. And it reminds me some, and I've made this analogy before, it reminds me some of, what Tony Petitti had to deal with the Big Ten when that Michigan sign stealing scandal was playing out in real time, where it was essentially everyone versus Michigan in the Big Ten. And Petitti got put into a tough spot. And some of this is detailed in my book, The Price of Armin Katan, but he got put into a challenging position of, do I step in knowing that it's going to take a while for the NCAA and others to be able to do this, or do I risk upsetting my entire conference by not doing anything? Of course, he did step in, which led to suspensions and other things at the end of that season. But the Big 12 commissioner, Brett Yormark, is in a tough spot. And you've seen even just today the fact that you now have potentially a Texas attorney general get involved. They're going to have to be very careful from a legal standpoint. But it seems obvious to me, at least, that the Big 12 does not like how this is playing out and would like to do something if they can, if Texas Tech isn't willing to do the right thing and not play him.
All right, enough of that nonsense now. Let's talk some actual football. On my podcast, I do a week to week. I just pick it. I do go down the SEC lineup and pick all the wins and losses and try to get an idea of what I think each team is going to be. We did Florida this week, and I've come to the conclusion I think that might be the most improved team in college football. I think they added a great coach. I like what they're doing. They've got some talent left over from the Napier years. I think they could be an 8 or 9 win team this year. Who's the most improved team in college football this season going to be, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the question with Florida is at quarterback, right?
Yeah.
That might lend me to be maybe slightly less bullish than you about the Gators. Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the teams off the top of my head. I think that the win-loss record might not be a massive improvement, but as someone who watched quite a bit of Auburn last year and how miserable that was at the end of the Hugh Freeze time, I think that team will be a lot improved in terms of just doing normal things on the field. So that's kind of, I guess, my stock answer right now is I think with bringing over a bunch of guys from USF, including obviously the quarterback Byron Brown, I just feel like the level of play and discipline and a bunch of other things will be much improved over the chaos and undisciplined, unorganized nature of Hugh Freeze down in Auburn.
And then the other side of that coin, who's a team that was great last year that you could see taking a step back this year?
Well, if Texas Tech doesn't have Sorsby,
that's true. Yeah.
There'd be some questions there, given all they've lost and the fact that I think quarterback was a pretty obvious need. I'll stay in the state here for a second. I think there are questions around Alabama this year. Not that they were blow you away amazing team last year, but they made the playoffs. They made it to the Rose Bowl. They won a game in the playoffs. I think there are certainly questions about quarterback, questions about some of the roster build that they've done. So it would not shock me at all if they took a step back this year, and maybe that's 8-4, which isn't awful or anything like that. But I could certainly see them missing the playoffs this year when you look at an SEC team. And then there's some other ones you look around the SEC, what does Vanderbilt look like without Diego Pavia? I think there's some questions there. Missouri has a really challenging situation with the Hardy thing. I already thought that Missouri was going to take potentially a pretty big step back this year. That adds another, unfortunate wrinkle to that for Missouri. So I think there's a couple teams in the SEC that fit that mold of teams that, because of a key piece missing or what, maybe a tougher schedule that might have a bit of a step back in 2026.
You hit on Alabama there, and I wanted to ask you about something. Alabama and Texas, these are two teams that right now nobody's saying anything about their coach being on a hot seat. But if Bama misses the playoff for a second time in 3 years, or if Sark doesn't ever get to the playoff with Arch Manning as his quarterback, what's the temperature on those two guys?
Hotter, I think, for Sark than DeBoer, and part of that is just because Alabama just gave DeBoer a significant extension and raise, and so it's almost, whether intentionally or not, building a bit of a firewall for his job security. I would have thought, to your point, Brian, that if they miss the playoff next year, that that DeBoer's seat could be getting not hot but warming at minimum, and knowing how much they'd have to spend to get rid of him after next year, it's hard for me to believe that Alabama would do that at this point. Now, you never could rule out desperation. I never thought Texas A&M would get rid of Jimbo Fisher with the number that they had, but of course they did. And so nothing is impossible when it comes to college teams wasting money. But that one feels high to me for them to do anything. But with Texas, they're all in this year. We know that. They went out and got Cam Coleman, one of the most expensive wide receivers in the game. They have Arch Manning coming back. I don't even think it's just about making the playoffs. If you can't make a run with this team, I think that says a lot about Sark. And as you guys remember, there were some speculation, some rumors about Sark being interested in the NFL that cropped up. He and his camp came out very strongly against that. But I'll tell you, that was being whispered, certainly, by other people at that time, that he would be interested in possibly going to the NFL. So whether that was in maybe just thinking, hey, what's my exit ramp possibilities? But that one is one that maybe more people aren't talking about that should be, just because if it goes bad, which I don't think it will, but it's possible that it could, that would be potentially the premier job that would open up.
Well, then, Lane Kiffin to Texas. We'll talk about that when we get there, though. John, appreciate your time, man, as always.
Thanks. Appreciate y'all.
John Talty, CBS Sports. He's ready for Saturday already, Game 5 between the Spurs and the Knicks. All right, we're going to do a quick change of plans. We were going to 100 teams, but we will talk about the Ole Miss decision to go with Taylor Rabe, plus some other news around the sport of college baseball with a little local flavor. It's a Will East Day, so you know that he's going to play the Colt. Back in just a minute here on Sports Talk Mississippi.
Talk Mississippi on Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi here with you on a Thursday. I'm Brian Haydad. Willie's in Studio X. Well, if you are looking at the weather outside, I believe this weekend we may have some rain issues. I'm not sure yet. It's the South. It's the summer. Pop-up storms, they happen. You get out there and mow the grass, though, make sure you're doing it in style with a John Deere mower from our good friends over at Ag Up. Ag Up's got one question for you right now. Are you working your property, or is your property working you? And if the answer is the latter, right now, Ag Up Equipment's going to change that around. They're going to flip the script. They're going to make it easier than ever to own a John Deere compact tractor with 0% financing on their 1 through 4 series models. If you're a first-time landowner or you're been doing this a long time and it's just time to trade in and trade up, Ag Up's team knows exactly how to help you find the right machine for your property and, more importantly these days, for your budget. So stop by your local Ag Up Equipment location. There's 15 of them across the state of Mississippi, so it shouldn't be a problem. Or you can just go to agup.com, wherever you are. Ag Up Equipment and John Deere, built for what's next. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details. We are going to do the 100 teams in 100 days in about 15 minutes. So we've got an interview coming up with Sam Hutchins from the Clarion Ledger. And we've also going to, our good friend David Cobb released an article today he tiered quarterbacks across the country. So we'll talk about that a little later as well. That's what's up on Sports Talk Mississippi. But what's up right this second is we just learned, as I just saw reported, it was Chase Parham that was the one who had it, that Taylor Rabe is going to get the start for the Rebels in Game 1. We've been talking about this for the past few days, been going back and forth. I know Borky hit it up a lot on the Rebel Report that, I think we had come to the conclusion here on this show that it was going to be Hunter Elliott getting the ball in Game 1. But we did say yesterday, North Carolina is the odds-on favorite to win this whole thing. They are a really, really good baseball team. And I guess Bianco looked at that and was like, I'm going to throw my best guy out there. And I will say this. This really was a no-lose proposition for him. If you're telling me in Game 2 against West Virginia or Troy's second starter, I can throw Hunter Elliott, I feel really good about my chances in that game as well. I probably feel a little bit better with Rabe, but I feel perfectly fine. I still feel like you got the best chance there. It's about this first game. And Rabe, I will say, Rabe, I think, does give Ole Miss the highest percentage, the best percentage chance to win in Game 1. Winning Game 1 is so important. It is almost impossible to come back from a Game 1, your first game in Omaha loss, and fight your way through the loser's bracket. It just extends your pitching so much. You're pitching a fourth and fifth guy by the end of the week. You just got to win that first game. So for Ole Miss, statistically, this is the correct decision.
Yeah, and he's been, quite frankly, better the past, month? Mm-hmm. He's pitched more innings, gone deeper into games, given up less runs. His earned run average is, about a point or 2 points below what Elliott's has been the past month. He doesn't walk people as much.
Right.
You look at the number of walks, it's like 2 a game, And I think he's the hot hand right now.
It just makes sense. Look, again, if you're going to play the percentages, and at this point in the game, I don't know. I don't think Mike Bianco is a super analytics guy. I think he still is an old school kind of managed by your gut guy. But I think that and the analytics are probably both telling you the same thing.
And this is something he probably wouldn't have done years ago.
You think he would have stayed with his rotation?
I think it would have the tried and true. My Friday night starter. I'm
play the veteran.
Yep.
Yeah, right. You're probably correct. So we will, like I said, we'll talk to Sam Hutchins a little later and get his thoughts on this. Guy who covers the Rebels every day. But I'm. It's one of those things. Like I'm not surprised, but I am surprised, if that makes sense. I knew there was some debate, but it just didn't strike me as there was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest with you. They could have started Kate Townsend, and I would have been like, I could see it. But between Rabe and Elliott, maybe it's like 51-49. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a coin flip. Rabe has been pitching better, for sure. The other thing with Elliott is he's had some issues, like getting started. He's kind of like he's one of those old cars you got to pump the gas a few times before you crank the engine. Once he gets going, he's fine. But he has gotten them into trouble a couple of times in the early innings, and maybe against North Carolina, you just don't want to take that risk. Whereas with Taylor Rabe, like as you mentioned with those stats there, he's turning the key and get on the road, and you're good to go. So that's the first bit of local news. I guess the second bit, as we get I think here on the text line, the Jello shot challenge underway. Ole Miss with nearly 1,000 shot lead. I just saw a tweet that the CEO of Blue Delta Jeans paid for 1,000 shots.
Now, see, I do not think it was the same thing with LSU last year. I don't think these big corporate so-and-sos.
I'm going to tell you something. It may hurt your feelings a little bit. Mississippi State won the last legitimate Jello shot competition
before they allowed these corporate so-and-sos to come in there and just purchase bulk.
So what happened
Jello shots?
What happened was, and if you get mad at this, you just get glad in the same pants that you got mad in. State won the national title. They won the Jello shot thing. The next year, Ole Miss was there, and they were like, "Well, by God, we're going to get both of these." So they got the national title, and then they had people coming in buying bulk amount of shots. And from there, it's become this ridiculous LSU bringing in the Raisin Canes guy, and then Ole Miss bringing in the Real Tree guy. It's just like just let the
an arms race.
And then what happened is, and it's smart, is that the bar Rocco's decided they would donate a percentage to, I think, to food banks or something in the city of Omaha. So I have no problem with the people giving the money away, right? Because it's great that they're helping out. But at the same time, you're like, this has become like a big game hunting thing. Like it's like no, I don't go hunt rhinoceros in Botswana. I buy Jello shots in Omaha. That's what I do with my money.
Yeah, I'm an old school shot guy.
Yeah.
All right.
You take the shot, you drink the shot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing I've always wondered, because I've never been. Okay, so you're putting, what is it, 1,400 that Ole Miss has right now?
Yeah.
Are we making sure that people are legitimately
Nobody's drinking those.
Consuming those?
They're going in the trash can. Nobody's drinking 1,400 shots. No one's doing that.
See, I think it ought to be shots drunk. Okay?
I think it absolutely
Not
should be.
purchased.
It should be. They count it once it goes down your gullet.
Yeah, once the little plastic cup is empty, then all right, we'll put you up on the board.
You drink 1,400 Jello shots, and you can just hear the siren call of Wilford Brimley, diabetes. What are we doing here? So, but Ole Miss has the lead. We'll give them that.
One other piece of baseball. You want to do the other piece of baseball news?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to here. And that's former Mississippi State baseball coach Chris Lemonis is back in the game, hired at Coastal Carolina. On the surface, feels like a great fit. He's a South Carolina native. He lives in the area. That's a good program, a program that's won a lot of games in the past. He's a guy that here at State, I don't think he was as active in the transfer portal as he needed to be, as evidenced by the fact that since he left, State last year had the number one transfer portal class, and they're off to a good start this year. If he is willing to get in there and recruit, I think he can be successful. That's a program where being successful isn't a problem. If he isn't willing to do that, well, the Sun Belt is a meat grinder. Troy was the third or fourth best team in that league. They're in Omaha right now. Southern Miss won the conference and the conference tournament. USM's going to be there every single year with Christian Ostrander. Louisiana is a good baseball program in that conference. South Alabama, they've been down for a couple of years, but historically that's been a good baseball program. So he's got his work cut out for him, but I am glad to see him back in the mix. He's a good coach. He's a good guy. Always was kind and fair with me, I thought, in his time here. And so congratulations to him. Glad to see him back in it. Interested to see what his staff looks like. Jake Gautreaux is at East Carolina. I can't see him taking a lateral move at this stage in his career. Kyle Cheeseborough, former MSU catching coach and was kind of the fourth assistant here, is just took a job at Lamar with their new staff there. And then Scott Foxhall is currently at Auburn. He's not the pitching coach. He's like football staffs now have like the assistant to the assistant. Yeah. He's kind of that at Auburn. He's not the pitching coach because Butch Thompson is really the pitching coach at Auburn. So, but he's just on the staff there. I could see maybe him reuniting though with Lemonis and being the actual pitching coach for the Chanticleers. So,
does this move save Mississippi State money? Offset language.
You got to think, right? I have no idea. I don't know for sure, but I got to think. That I'm sure there was some
offset language.
Yeah. Well, Lemonis' contract was originally drawn up by Cohen, so it's possible there isn't any. Because, what's that? I don't know what that is. Just know about winning baseball games, all I know about. So I don't know. All right. Can we see any MSU players go in the portal to Coastal, or did O'Connor get rid of those guys last year? I mean, Charlie Foster just got into the portal. Maybe him. Maybe some of the guys who were on the team last year, went in the portal last year, and might want to reunite, might have hit the portal again. Guys like, I don't know, Michael O'Brien is the first name that comes to mind. We'll see. I don't think anybody that State wants to keep, they have to worry about going to Coastal Carolina. I'll put it that way. All right, when we come back, 100 teams in 100 days, and a salute to the nation's military. We'll do that when we come back here on Sports Talk Mississippi.
From the back to Sports Talk Mississippi.
It doesn't get any better than this.
On Super Talk Mississippi.
Something about a Bernardo Sidney three-pointer away from the Cotton District. I don't know why I thought of that. It's Sports Talk Mississippi here on a Thursday. I'm Brian Haydad, Willie's. Buddy of mine just made a good point in a group text. He said Pat McAfee's going to show up at that bar and buy 50,000 shots and say, top that. That's coming. You can feel that coming.
He can afford it, apparently, with his new deal that he's about to get.
I'll be honest with you. I can get on this air, and I can take my shirt off and make a fool of myself and cuss a lot. Can I get $50 million?
I heard it was 60.
I'll settle for 50. I'll give you, that's a 10% discount right there or something, for sure. let's jump into it. 100 teams in 100 days.
This day is bananas. BANANAS. This day is bananas.
100 teams in 100 days.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
It's the final countdown.
We head out west, where the men and women of the United States Air Force Academy, team number 79. If you're a member of our armed services, no offense to you, none whatsoever, but that kind of sounds like Robin Hood and his merry men making their way through Nottingham Forest. What can we not find a little bit more oomph? And that song I thought was a little more, a little faster.
Okay, President Trump, if you're listening to this, you're the only man that can save us here.
That's right.
In more ways than one. That song sucks.
Oh,
no offense.
Well,
it's terrible.
You went there. Okay,
it's terrible. Okay, you're the Air Force.
Yeah.
All right, you can choose any song you want. Who's going to argue with you? You just go bomb them. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Why is this not your freaking fight song?
Well, it's a German song. Written by a German.
It's good enough for Apocalypse Now. All right.
I don't mind it.
How is this not the fight song of
that,
the United States Air Force Academy?
Not only that, but I would go further and say that we should have a plane with massive speakers flying alongside any squadrons we're sending into battle.
Dude, if I could take over the game day operations for the United States Air Force Academy, I'd go all in. All right?
I don't mind it.
I love the smell of napalm, and I'd play that, especially before early games. This just makes too much common sense right here.
I hear you. Not a great year for the Air Force Academy a season ago. They finished the year 4-8. Troy Calhoun, who's been there for a long, long time and is not accustomed to those kind of seasons, but not a great year for them. Started the year off with a win over Bucknell. Mm-hmm. Then 5 straight losses. Utah State, Boise State, Hawaii, Navy. Only lost by 3 points there. And to UNLV. They lost to UNLV last year. Bounced back with a win against Wyoming, and then losing 3 of their final 5 games. They lose to Army, again, only by 3 points. They were 6 points away from the Commander-in-Chief's trophy here. Then they beat San Jose State, lose to UConn, lose to New Mexico. Did finish the year on a bright note, beating Colorado State 4-8 on the season. This year, the schedule looks as follows. They begin the year with Duquesne. Here in Duquesne, we hate Duquesne here in Starkville. They beat Mississippi State in the 1935 Orange Bowl, I believe is correct. And we still remember.
Name that mascot.
The Dukes.
The Dukes.
I do know that one. Then North Dakota State. I believe that's a conference game. North Dakota State in their first year in FBS. We'll head to Colorado Springs to take on the Air Force Academy. Then a road trip to Nevada. Navy will come to Colorado Springs on October the 3rd, then to Northern Illinois, and then UNLV. We'll be there. We'll be there on October 17th. We're going to be there. We respect our nation's military, but we're going to run the ball all over them. That's the Running Rebels coming in on the 17th. Then a trip to Wyoming. UConn visits Air Force on Halloween night, or Halloween afternoon, it appears. Then Air Force at Army, at home against San Jose State. At home against UTEP, they'll finish the year on the road at New Mexico. Good friend of mine played football for the Air Force Academy, Ketty Dornbush, St. Aloysius Flash, and then went on to play at Air Force and serve our country. Good guy.
Another thing confused me about Air Force. What type of offense do they run there?
They do not throw the ball very much. Why
do we not do the air raid?
Well, they've had this guy for a long time. He runs an option. He runs the option.
What are we doing, folks?
Yeah, the Army is definitely the correct choice to run the ground and pound. The Air Force should be an air raid school. Go
get Hal Mummy.
Yeah,
all right? I got his
them.
phone number. We'll call him. He'll take the job.
Yeah. Somebody says the fight song should be Danger Zone.
Dude, I'd be playing the Danger Zone and Ride of the Valkyries and that tone from
you're just sitting there,
Top Gun.
My cousin Ahmed is just somewhere in Iraq right now, or Iran, and he's just tending to his goats, and all of a sudden he just hears, he's just sitting there. It's a normal Wednesday afternoon, and all of a sudden he just hears, and he's like, what the heck is going on? He just looks up, and there's tomcats and stealth bombers flying over.
I've never been. I'll be honest with you. I've never been to a game there, so I don't know. They may do some of this stuff, but I'm telling you, I'd
lean in on it. Yeah.
Oh, I'd have this.
Yes.
I'd have this blaring.
Yeah. Well,
everywhere.
No. The problem with that, Top Gun is about naval aviators.
Oh, that's a good point.
They're not about the Air Force, so you can't go that route.
Okay, so Top Gun's out of it.
Back to Flight of the Valkyries.
Flight of the Valkyries.
Yeah,
okay.
That
now,
works.
the other thing that confused me about Air Force is this Commander-in-Chief's trophy.
Okay.
It's one of the few trophies shared by
3 schools.
So how do they determine?
I'm going to assume there's a point differential in there somewhere because, if you split with everybody, it doesn't matter. So Navy won it last year because they beat both teams. That's the thing, though. It's like, for the most part, you're probably somebody's going to win too, I would think. I don't know how they split it up. Perhaps. What if I had a device?
Ask Grok or ChatGPT or Gemini how they decide who actually gets the trophy.
All right, here we go. If there is a 3-way tiebreaker, the previous year's winner retains physical possession. So they do an outright winner. The tiebreaker, if all 3 teams post 1-1, the trophy is not awarded to a new school. It stays at the academy that won the year before. So if they all go 1-1 this year, the Commander-in-Chief trophy will remain at the United States Naval Academy. So there we go.
Okay.
So not really a thing. All right. This is another one. First off, I'm not doing any chain restaurants. For some reason, the number 1 restaurant in Colorado Springs was the Melting Pot. Ever been to a Melting Pot? It's fondue. It's a fondue restaurant. And what I will tell you about it, I went to one with my wife really early in our marriage when we lived in Memphis. And it's awesome for the appetizer course because you get the cheese fondue and they give you the big tray of stuff to dip in the cheese, right? Mm-hmm. It's awesome for dessert. Big pot of chocolate. They give you the berries and the marshmallows you dip on. It's fantastic. Dinner sucks. It's like they give you like a hot pot of broth and you got to boil filet. It doesn't work. It just go there for the cheese and go there for the dessert. Do not get the entree. Just don't do it. That's Brian Haydad's tip to you. So we're going to go to the number 2 restaurant, Uchina, a Mediterranean and Ethiopian restaurant.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I've heard good things about Ethiopian food.
I've had it.
You don't eat with they don't give you any utensils. You eat with your hands, or they give you like this little flatbread, and you just tear off a chunk and you scoop up a big mess of sauced up tender meat and veggies, and it looks great. I've never tried it, though. This place has got the full Monty of Ethiopian food. We're talking about, first of all, they got a lot of vegetarian options, as you might guess, and vegan options. So, there you go. But these plates are loaded up with meat, sauce, veggies, eggs. They got beef tips, chicken. It's called tibs. Chicken tibs. Boneless chicken. Sauteed with onion, tomato, garlic, ginger, and spices. They got seafood. What do they eat for dessert in Ethiopia? I don't see that. All they have is the entrees there. But it looks really, really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I would enjoy the food at this place. So, Uchina in Colorado Springs, Colorado. If you're ever in Colorado Springs and you got a hankering for Ethiopian food, check out Uchina and tell them that Hey Dad and Willie sent you.
And then you can go to the Will Rogers Shrine.
Is that what there is there?
It's there.
Okay.
I don't know. In the Pioneers Museum.
We got some. Would you bring up some tourist attractions? I
brought up some tourist attractions. You can go to the United States Olympic and Paralympic Museum. Don't know why you would.
The Olympic might be interesting. No offense to the Paralympians, but yeah, I'm just not that interested. So.
Yeah. Oh, and you can go to the Nikola Tesla transmitter thing. That's kind of cool. All right.
What was it got like the big Frankenstein thing?
The big ball with the electricity.
Yeah, you put your hand on it and the beam comes to it.
I don't think you could do that.
Remember that Radio Shack where you go there and you put oh my goodness. Like 12-year-old Brian was mesmerized by that.
When I get an adult, I'm going to get one of those.
All right.
My wife said no.
Well, now you tell her it's a gift for the baby. That's how you got to do. All right, when we come back, I got a story to tell you guys about something that happened today. I think you'll laugh. I hope you will. Sports Talk Mississippi, back in just a minute.
In the Venable. If it's sports in Mississippi, you'll hear about it here. Here. Sports Talk Mississippi.
You like this show, huh?
Yeah!
Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Have you seen the movie Singles?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, Chris Cornell is in that movie, right? Yeah. And so the movie, you know, Matt Dillon's band, who I can't say the name of the band, but they had a bunch of weird song names.
Yeah.
And so Chris Cornell made a challenge. He's like, I will name one song after a song named from this movie. Spoon Man is that song. That is the name of one of the songs of Matt Dillon's band in Singles.
Great movie.
It's a great movie. Unfortunately, I can't say the name of the band here on Family Radio. Earlier today. So let's go back. All you guys know I bought my last car with our friends over at Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota. Drove up to Oxford to buy that car. I like my car. It's a great car. I certainly suggest that you go and do the same with up there at Highway 6 in Oxford. But there was not a problem, there was a quirk that I didn't notice until I was driving off. And that is the temperature gauge is one of those digital ones where you actually see the number for the how hot or cold it's going to be. It was in Celsius.
Okay.
So it's in Celsius. So I get home and I looked through the owner's manual and I read and I was like, I cannot figure out how to change it. So I've had that car for like a year and a half now. And so I just know my car, the temperature goes between 17 and 35 degrees. All right. 17 is cold.
You go 8 kilometers down the road.
Yeah. 17 is cold. 35 is hot. Somewhere in between is whatever it is, right? And I'd gotten to the point where people would get in my car and be like, what? And I don't know how to fix it. Today, my battery went out. I had to go and buy a new battery today. So the guy replaces my battery. I get in the car, and I look, and it says 73. I was like, what? Changing the battery restored the default, I guess, the factory default, and I'm back to Fahrenheit. So what I've learned is that 17 is 61. And I haven't learned what 35 is because I wasn't about to turn the heat up today. But I'll update you guys sometime in November, I guess, as to what degree 35 degrees Celsius is.
I had
but I've been dealing with that for a year. Of people just getting in my car and like, what's 18? It goes to 18? No, not really.
I had an F-150. It was it was like a 2001, I believe, was the year. And for some reason, they put the seat heater button on the side.
Okay.
And on the passenger side, it was like you could not help but touch it when you got in the car, when a passenger got in the car. For some reason, the driver one was a different spot. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. Every human that ever got in my vehicle, even if they got girlfriends who got in the vehicle, multiple friends who got in the vehicle, they would inevitably turn the seat heater on. And, buddy, it went to 1,000 degrees.
You're just sitting there like, why am I so hot?
People would go, God, it's burning up in here. Like your seat heater's on. And then you couldn't find it. So there'd be, 5 minutes of explaining. I almost got to the point where I just wanted to unhook it somehow, cut the cord. I don't know what, but car manufacturers, why do they do the things they do?
Yeah. Why? This is an American-made car. Or it's not an American-made car. I'm sure. It probably was made in America. But, it's sold in America. Why is there even a Celsius option? Why did that even... They're like, hey, just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case. We're gonna put a Celsius thing on here. And I swear I read the owner's manual and I was like, all right, so hold down the trip thing and go to the radio, go to the air conditioner, and play with it. It should
press it 3 times.
Yeah,
tap your foot once.
Yeah,
and then
draw a pentagram around the seat. All this stuff. None of it worked, but I got a new battery and
voila,
back to Fahrenheit. So that made me happy today. I actually called my wife. I was like, you'll never believe what happened. So, call. I just couldn't believe it. I was so happy. So, wasn't happy about getting a new battery. Nothing like going to Kroger and having chicken in the car and the car not starting. You're like, oh, God.
A problem that my current vehicle, I have a Toyota Sequoia, and it's an older one. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's like a church bus.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that the air conditioning or the heat, whichever one, will not turn on until about 45 seconds after you've started the car. Now, 45 seconds does not sound like a long time. However, Mississippi summers.
45 seconds is an eternity.
Everybody who gets in my car is like, turn the 8, what are you doing?
Yeah. You need to be the guy who's like, I got to go out to my car and start it before we go kind of thing. People say like 45 seconds is not a long time. Being in radio has taught me how long a minute and stuff really is. Like, you say 45 seconds is not a long time. Let me stop talking for 45 seconds and see what it feels like.
Yeah.
People be like, what happened to my radio? 10 seconds even is that way. So, yes, Mississippi heat, 45 seconds and no air conditioning. Those Europeans are learning that lesson right now as they traverse across the South, among many other things. All right, when we come back, we're going to go to the college football fix. We got a good article from our friend David Cobb. He tiered up the quarterbacks. I love a good QB tier. We'll do that when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi, here with you on a Thursday afternoon. Be right back.
What we're gonna do right here is go back.
And now back to the sports. This is Sports Talk Mississippi.
So let's get rolling
on Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi. I always laugh when Michael Winslow made the joke. Robert Plant's the only man on earth who can make a hit song out of the sound you make when you slam your hand in a car door. Exactly. Why don't you slam your hand in the door of a new Ford pickup truck? Right now, it's the college football fix. We don't actually recommend you slamming your hand in the door. I just want to make clear on that one. You never know who's listening.
Seat heaters.
The best. That's why it's the best-selling truck in America. It keeps you warm in them cold winter nights. It's also the best-selling truck in America for a variety of reasons. If you want to know them all, go visit our friends at your local Mississippi Ford dealers. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Friend of the show, David Cobb, wrote a quarterback tier article today. I love don't rank them, tier them. That's how I like to look at things. First tier, obvious Heisman candidates. And I guess he does technically rank them because this is certainly not alphabetical. Number 1, Dante Moore. Number 2, Arch Manning. Number 3, Trinidad Chambliss. He does have an interesting side note on Chambliss. He says, inevitably there will be surprises. Trinidad Chambliss would not have appeared on this list a year ago because Austin Simmons entered the 2025 season as the Ole Miss starter. Now, Chambliss is a legitimate Heisman contender who just led the Rebels to the greatest season in modern history. For Chambliss, he says the NCAA denied Chambliss a medical redshirt season dating back to his time at Division II Ferris State, but it couldn't win in court, paving the way for Chambliss to make a Heisman charge 1 year after leading Ole Miss to its greatest season in program history. Also on the tier of Heisman candidates, Darian Mensah, the Miami quarterback, Julian Sand at Ohio State, C.J. Carr from Notre Dame, Jaden Maivia at USC. I wonder if he's a member of the Bloodline. And Josh Hoover, the Indiana quarterback who transferred in from TCU, trying to follow the footsteps of the last Heisman Trophy winner, Fernando Mendoza. Trinidad Chambliss for Heisman. Your thoughts, Will East, Ole Miss fan?
I think he'll be in the running.
Certainly early. It depends on what happens at LSU game, right?
Yeah.
If it's a great game against them, you're off and running. You lose that game, you're probably not going to get there.
The problem he has, and that every other quarterback on this list has, is that the quarterback from Notre Dame is going to walk away with this thing, I think.
Is that an early prediction?
Yes.
From Will East. C.J. Carr is Will East's favorite to win the Heisman Trophy.
Because they're going to be
really good.
If not undefeated, one loss, maybe to Miami. And that may be the game that determines who wins the Heisman, to be honest with you.
Could be.
But if you look at their schedule, you're telling me he can't put up great numbers against Purdue, against Michigan State?
What do you got against the Boilermakers
4-8 last year? Against Stanford?
I guess.
Against North Carolina? I mean, it's not like North Carolina has the greatest head coach of all time there. Oh, wait.
It says Jaden is going to fight Roman for the red pepper necklace. That's the Uafala. How dare you? Acknowledge it.
So while Trinidad is going to be facing teams like LSU and Florida and Texas and Georgia, C.J. Carr from Notre Dame is going to be facing teams like the Orange of Syracuse, Boston College. Which one is going to have the better stats, Brian Haydad?
I get it. I get what you're saying. There's no doubt, yeah. The next tier is the all-conference caliber vets. He says just a tick below, could end up in New York. Gunnar Stockton and Marcel Reed are the top two in there. So where he has Sorsby.
I don't know if I'd bet on that. But
it's you gonna take a flyer on that one? You sure?
I'll take a parlay on it.
Yeah. The next tier down, proven and predictable. Is anybody from the SEC in that one? No. Internal promotions, so some guys who are just maybe going to win the job. KJ Jackson listed on this tier. The Arkansas quarterback could be the Arkansas quarterback. Don't know that for sure. The big reunion. Byron Brown from Auburn, obviously coming from South Florida, where he was with Comrade Golish prior to that. I don't know about that. I don't know. Like, every time you watch a video of Byron Brown this offseason, he looks like he doesn't know. He looks like, you ever seen that video of the actor? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where he's like throwing a football, and it's like he had never seen a football before that day.
But he got the part, so he's out there throwing
That's
the football.
what it looks like when Byron Brown throws the football. He's like shot putting it out there. It's not.
I've seen some practice videos.
It's not great.
It's just incompletion.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you make of that?
I'm not high on Auburn this year. Aaron Philo is also on that list, transferring in from Georgia Tech. They list from the infirmary is where they have Sam Levitt. That's not what you want. That's not the tier I would really want to be in. High ceiling, low floor. John Mateer, Lenoris Sellers, former Florida quarterback DJ Lagway is in that one. Tantalizing potential. Austin Simmons, number one on this list. Keelan Russell from Alabama. We had an Alabama texter yesterday who was adamant that Keelan Russell is a superstar in the making.
I mean, he could, and they're going to need it.
They need him to be. And this is where you'll find Kamario Taylor, number 4. Here's the write-up. Mississippi State took the Tim Tebow approach with Taylor during his freshman season. I wish they'd taken the Florida approach with the wins and losses. That would have been a fantastic season. Using him situationally while letting a veteran handle the bulk of the quarterbacking duty, but there was no hiding his potential. And Taylor was doing it all by season's end, casting a vision of hope for what year 3 of Jeff Lebby's tenure could be. Absolutely. Put up the KT1 symbol. I need that. Couple of SEC guys, more SEC guys in here. Jared Curtis, the 5-star high school quarterback who flipped late in the process from Georgia to Vanderbilt and is the heir apparent to Diego Pavia. When we had John Talty on earlier today, he talked about what does Vanderbilt look like without Pavia. True freshman quarterback in the SEC.
I mean, that's a tough gig.
Speaking of true freshman quarterbacks, Faison Brandon at Tennessee, the number 3 quarterback in the country last year, could very well end up being the starter for the Volunteers there. That, again, strikes me as a very tough situation for them. We shall see. A little further down the list on the opportunity beckons. These are power 4 to power 4 transfers with either limited experience or a questionable track record who are seeking out opportunities at new programs. Number 2 is Kenny Minchie, the Kentucky quarterback, who transferred in from Notre Dame. So that's an interesting one there as well. Kentucky is a team that I feel like they could take a step forward this year. It feels like Will Stein, the state hires a coordinator, and year one was a total train wreck. It does not feel like that's going to be the case with Kentucky hiring a coordinator. Stein recruited really well. He did really well in the transfer portal. He came in and immediately got some impact guys. I think Kentucky could be an improved team this season. That's all the SEC guys. I'm trying to see if there's any real names of note on here. I like Rocco Beck going to Penn State, but I don't know what Penn State's going to be this year. Sophomore stars is a fun one. Bear Bachmeier at BYU. Jaron, I'm just going to call him JKS. I'm not going to try to pronounce the guy's last name from Cal. Really good player, though. Bryce Underwood is there at Michigan. Yeah. Malik Washington at Maryland. Mason Heinchel from Pitt, who was really, really good there.
Go ahead and talk about the guy from Cal. Go ahead and talk about him.
Jaron Kiwawe Sagapolote. I believe that's right. That's the best. If you go phonetically, it would be Jaron Kiwi Sagapolutele, I believe is how we're going to get there.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, if you're Godzilla, it rolls right off the tongue. That tongue, maybe, not mine.
So we kind of skipped over him a little bit, but Levitt at LSU,
I'm not sold on Sam Levitt, and I've talked about it a few times on the show. I got to see him live last year.
Yeah,
I watched every snap he played against Mississippi State the year before. Against the worst defense imaginable, he was never very good. They won the game 2 years ago because Cam Skattebo was unstoppable in that game.
But
go ahead.
Mississippi State almost came back and won that game.
Mississippi State was in the game all the way.
Yeah.
And then this past year, they won. Arizona State got back in the game because they were able to run the football. Levitt didn't do anything in that game. And, of course, he threw a terrible interception to finish it off. I know Kiffin is the quarterback whisperer, and I know he has always had great success with quarterbacks. And, look, the pieces around Levitt are elite. He's got a great offensive line in front of him. He should be good. I just don't know if he's going to be great.
Yeah.
And
he wasn't the first choice.
He was not. He was like the third or fourth choice, really. They wanted Trinidad. They wanted DeMond Williams from Washington. And Washington basically was like, yeah, you can have him, but you're paying the buyout, which is going to be 7 figures. And Kiffin was like, guess not. And so then they went to Levitt.
And he's been dealing with this injury.
He's been having some injuries.
And he's missed a lot of practice and all that
I'm just not sold totally on Sam Levitt. So we'll see. All right, when we come back, Sam Hutchins joins us from the Clarion Ledger. He's live in Omaha. We'll talk to him in just a minute. Sports Talk Mississippi with you here on a Thursday.
Communication system is a go. Go!
This is Sports Talk Mississippi, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Exactly.
Back here on Sports Talk Mississippi on a Thursday afternoon. We go back to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Sam Hutchins joins us. He covers the Ole Miss Rebels for the Clarion Ledger in Jackson and, of course, is in Omaha with the Rebels as we speak. And Sam, also, by the way, let's throw this in, maybe the absolute nicest guy I've ever met, Sam Hutchins. I want to give him that shout-out. Sam, how many Jell-O shots have you done is my question.
It might be unexpected because Ole Miss has so many on the board, but I'm a 0 in that column. But I'll tell you what, Brian, I'm from Oklahoma. I've got some friends from the OU beat coming in, some of the Ole Miss folks and stuff. So maybe they convinced me to to put one on the Broncos scoreboard. Who knows?
Just get one. That's all you got to do. Just get one, and you've done your
it's
part.
It's my first time in Omaha. You kind of have. Did you even go to the College World Series if you didn't?
I would submit that you did not. I would submit that. Let's talk about the actual games, and we just learned a little while ago the decision by Mike Bianco that he's going to go with Taylor Rabe in Game 1 against North Carolina. That's been something that's been debated on shows like this. I'm sure you've written about it. What do you think of that decision? In your mind, the correct one for Mike Bianco?
Yeah, I do think it makes a lot of sense, and I'll tell you why. It's because if you've Hunter Elliott would even tell you, like, hey, he maybe hasn't been the Hunter Elliott, of the 2022 World Series, or, he just hasn't had his best stuff recently. And Taylor Rabe has been the opposite. He started this year as the long reliever and then transitioned into the number 3 guy at the early part of the SEC season. And then you look up and Taylor Rabe has been throwing so well. He's the type of guy that you kind of have to give the ball first right now, I think, just because of how well he's throwing. Ole Miss has won the last 4 games that he's started, and he's gone 6 innings, 6 innings, 6 innings, and 7 innings in those games. So I think the reason that it makes the most sense to start Rabe in this one is because especially if you're comparing him with Hunter Elliott, who's great at gritting out and getting through innings and keeping Ole Miss in games. But I think Taylor Rabe gives you the best chance for a clean 6 or 7 innings to set your bullpen up for this game and potentially down the road to staying in Omaha.
I talked about this question with Brad Henderson yesterday, but I wanted to ask you because I remember, I was at the series in Oxford for Mississippi State. And, State looked so good in that series, and Ole Miss looked like a team that was really struggling to find its way. They couldn't manufacture runs. They had some defensive lapses throughout the season. And then you look up now, and they're in Omaha. For you, when did this season turn for Ole Miss, and they started playing the kind of baseball that they're playing now?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I think maybe it's too easy, but I kind of want to point to the Stormtrooper helmet, Brian. I don't know if you saw, but it's kind of gone on the waves.
I can't get over the fact that the Rebels are using a Stormtrooper helmet. The nerd in me is losing it on this one.
Oh, they'd be going crazy in Alderaan right now. But yeah, it's. But yeah, they kind of mentioned it came about after a series in Gainesville where Ole Miss was not playing well in the SEC season, and like you said, Brian, it was all the things about the offense, and it was really struggling to manufacture runs, and I think that was very clearly apparent in that series where, yeah, they were swept by Mississippi State in Swayze because they could not get runners in. But what they've done since then and how they've gotten to Omaha and done it in 5-0 fashion in the postseason is by, the recipe is still the same, right? They're going to be a team that tries to get on with, walks and then clog up the bases and then have one guy hit home runs because Tristan Becerra is 1 home run away from tying the single-season program record. Judd Udemark's a home run behind him. So that's the recipe ultimately, is get guys on any way they can, and then someone in the order will smash them home. But it's been, the home runs have been coming, more base runners have been clogging the bases, and it's led to, tremendous success.
One guy who's been playing really good baseball as of late, and he had, a defensive play that could have been really bad, but it ended up being an incredible catch, is Hayden Federico. He's a guy who in the last few weeks has really come on at the plate as well for the Rebels. Just tell us about where did it turn around for him this season? When did he start becoming the player that we saw a lot of in the first few weeks of his true freshman season?
Yeah, and that I was going to point to that, Brian. You're dead on. Federico was a case last year where he came in and he, starts in the lineup as a true freshman, and he came out scorching hot at the beginning of his college career, and we're like, wow, who is this guy? And then when SEC play rolled around, his numbers kind of tailed off, I guess understandable for a freshman. But this year it was kind of, man, is Federico more the guy that flashed his talent, or, was that more of his ceiling and he'll find the floor this year? But yeah, as a sophomore, he's been great, and the averages have really carried throughout SEC play. He kind of told us a cool story, Brian, of His dad, Mike, is a longtime college baseball coach who's coached in the Division I level as an assistant and a head coach. But he's so Hayden said, yeah, I grew up always wanting him to take me to Omaha, and the dad, Mike, said, no, Hayden, one of us has to earn it. And so they're going now, and Mike will be here because Hayden earned a spot in Omaha. So that's kind of a cool story. But you're right, Brian. I had trouble making too much out of that play in center field because Federico said, hey, it was only a great play because I messed up on the read. So it was kind of a crazy catch there in center field in Auburn.
That's where Federico has got to be a little more media savvy and go like, oh yeah, it's all me. I made an unbelievable play, and you guys should give me full credit for it and write my name in the newspaper.
I think the TV angle helped with that because the TV, you couldn't really see like the step or two in, but I was there in Auburn, and you could see like, oh, I don't think that's the right read on that ball. But yeah, on the TV, you can only kind of see him sprint back, and you're like, whoa, that's Willie Mays.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the TV copy helps him there.
No doubt. We were talking about Hunter Elliott earlier. A guy who, shouldn't still be playing college baseball. Injuries have kind of put him in this position. But now you've got a piece held over from that national championship team. How much do you think Mike Bianco values having a guy like that? You never mind his talent and what he can give you on the mound, what he gives you in the locker room.
Well, I think the most telling part of that is him being comfortable to start Rabe and give Rabe the ball, just because kind of what does that say about Hunter, a guy who's, team first enough and team oriented enough to be willing, it's not Hunter's call, obviously, but, it's for Bianco to be willing to make that move and, trust that Hunter Elliott, if he's able to get the ball, and I probably assume he would start over Townsend in the guaranteed game 2 here. What that says about Hunter, his selflessness or just willing to do what the team needs. And that's kind of what Bianco and the Rebels rave about him as the guy who was the only one left from the 2022 team, is his selflessness and his leadership and just how honed in he is and, locked in the dugout on his off days, what kind of guy he is.
What do you expect to see from Ole Miss this weekend and in this College World Series?
Yeah, so there does seem to be some magic about this team, but I realize that to win a regional and a super regional, you're fighting magic with magic, right? It's like something out of a Harry Potter book because every team's got something going. But I expect to see a lot of home runs. I don't expect them to be blown out in any game. And Ole Miss was blown out sometimes in the regular season, but that would happen when Taylor Rabe maybe wasn't throwing as well or the offense was struggling. But now with Ole Miss, having 3 pitchers, we haven't even talked about Cade Townsend, who is probably going to be a first or second round pick and is the 3rd guy in the rotation right now. So having 3 pitchers and home run hitters all across the board, I think it gives them a tremendous amount of ceiling to absolutely win it all. But more likely have the ceiling in terms of, they'll be in every game. And I would advise North Carolina and whoever else they face, if you have a 2-run lead going into the 7th inning, like you better put some cushion on that thing because this team can erase leads in a blink. So I think if Ole Miss is going to be beaten, it need to be by a team that has can build a comfortable lead and keep stacking on.
Yeah, I can't help but think, and we only got about a minute left here, Sam, but I can't help but think when you look at this side of the bracket, if Ole Miss wins this first game against North Carolina, they got a pretty, I wouldn't say easy, right? It's the College World Series, but they have a pretty, we'll say, favorable path to the National Championship Series. Now, when they get there and they've got to face probably either Georgia or Texas, that might be a different story. But, man, I think the Rebels are going to be playing. I think you're going to be up in Omaha for at least a couple weeks, my friend.
Yeah, they can't say it at the podium because they were kind of asked about their regional, but I can say it talking to my friend you, Brian. It's like the 4 teams here. This doesn't feel like any saltier of a regional than even the Lincoln regional they won, or certainly if you can take 2 out of 3 from Auburn, you can do some things here.
No doubt about it. Sam, keep an eye on Katz and Chase and all those guys. Don't go dropping anybody while you're up there, okay?
Sure thing. I'll do my best.
All right, Sam Hutchins from the Clarion Ledger in Omaha. When we come back, we're going to look at the SEC football schedule week by week and give you the game of the week in June. Why not? Back in just a minute on Sports Talk Mississippi.
From the CFB, Sports Talk Mississippi.
Do you ever get so excited that you just can't wait?
Sports Talk Mississippi, covering your Mississippi teams.
I've been waiting my whole life for this.
Don't touch that dial.
Here on Super Talk Mississippi.
You know, for a long time, I thought he was saying so open the door, but he's not. Soy un perdedor, which is Spanish for I'm a loser.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Soy un perdedor. I'm a loser. I did not know that for a long, long time. So we've been able to intersperse some good musical facts here today on Sports Talk Mississippi. I'm Brian Haydad. Will East is in Studio X. Tomorrow on the show, I believe we're going to have a North Carolina guy. I haven't locked that in 100% yet, but also political commentator and general person Richard Cross will join the show.
Oh!
He'll be coming right off the golf course at the Delta Soul.
He will be. He actually will be.
I know. He's joining us at 5:20. He's like, can we do it a little later? I was like, sure. But we'll get his thoughts on the Rebels as they get ready to head to Omaha. I'm going to kind of ask him the same question I've asked Brad Henderson, and then I just asked Sam because he was on the call for Game 3 of that series between Mississippi State and Ole Miss, where State looked great and Ole Miss did not, and then it just turned. And I want to ask him the same question: where did it turn for Ole Miss? So we'll get into that a little later. But what we're going to do now is this: we talked earlier about the kickoff windows and all of that. They've been set for the whole year. I want to just go through week by week in the SEC schedule, and I want to see what the game of the week is. So let's just start it off. Week 1, and I'll when there's a bunch of FCS games and stuff, I'm not going to worry about those. You got 3 options in week 1. You've got Baylor versus Auburn. That game doesn't count. I'm not going to give that the nod here because it's a neutral site game. I don't understand why that is, by the way. Baylor and Auburn played last year at Baylor. Why is this game not at Jordan-Hare? I don't get it. You've got Clemson at LSU. And you got Louisville, Ole Miss on Sunday in Nashville. I think I'm going to go Clemson and LSU.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of drama in that, right? You got Kiffin's first game. You got everything that's happened with Dabo. Is this going to be his last year? We'll go with that. That's our week 1 game. Week 2, got a few decent choices here. We got Oklahoma at Michigan. Last year, Michigan went down to Oklahoma and lost that game. I was very surprised by that. That's when I knew Oklahoma was actually going to be better than I thought. You got Arizona State at Texas A&M. What do the Sun Devils look like now that Sam Leavitt's gone? That's one to talk about. But the real answer is Ohio State at Texas.
Yeah.
That's number 1. That's a 6:30 kick on ABC. That'll be fun. But you got some good games that weekend. You also got Tennessee at Georgia Tech. That should be a good one. And then Arkansas at Utah. From a local perspective, you got Southern Miss at Auburn. I'll just tell you right now, if Southern Miss goes into that game and Auburn can't put them away early, that's not a great sign for the Auburn Tigers. So we'll definitely go with Ohio State at Texas. Week 3. Now we're starting to get. There's no question, right? Well, never mind. We're just moving on. It's LSU at Ole Miss. Doesn't matter anything else. LSU at Ole Miss is the correct answer. All right, week 4. We got all conference games here, except for one. We're not going to worry with Tulsa at Arkansas. The answer is probably one of these final 3 games. The flex games is where it's at. You do have Texas at Tennessee, which I believe is Texas's first trip to Tennessee. That's a cool storyline. But Ole Miss at Florida, Oklahoma at Georgia, Texas A&M at LSU.
I know which one I would go with.
I'm sure I do. What I would say is this. If you tell me the result of LSU at Ole Miss, I'll tell you my answer here. If Ole Miss wins, it's Ole Miss at Florida. You know what? Never mind. It's Ole Miss at Florida.
Really?
Because if LSU beats Ole Miss, does that game beat Ole Miss twice? If Ole Miss beats LSU, can Ole Miss get back, come down from that emotional high to win at Florida? I think that's an intriguing game. So I'll go Ole Miss at Florida there.
I was going to say Texas A&M LSU.
Could be.
Because that was the game last year.
Yeah. That's where Brian Kelly got fired.
That was it.
Yeah.
They were at. Remember, a lot of these games are repeats from last year.
Right.
They were at LSU.
Right.
Everybody had left the stadium, and it's going to be the difference.
Gross.
What a difference a year makes.
It was gross.
No, it was great.
Well, yeah, you're correct. You're correct. All right, week 5, as a SEC slate goes, this is not great. Vandy at Georgia, Alabama at Mississippi State, McNeese at LSU. Who cares? Florida at Missouri, Kentucky at South Carolina, Auburn at Tennessee, Arkansas at Texas A&M. This is not a great slate of SEC games. I think the most interesting one is Florida at Missouri.
Yeah.
But, goodness, that as SEC slates go, that's not a great one. But there's a world, though, where, if the best-case scenario happens for Mississippi State and they're 4-0 playing Alabama, that could be fun, but I don't know if State will be that.
Well, and, you've got Kentucky at South Carolina right there.
Yeah.
If Kentucky wins that game,
he's in trouble.
Because they got Alabama the week before.
Yeah.
South Carolina does.
Yeah. And they're at Florida the next week.
The Vultures.
Yes.
They're circling.
They'll be circling the Beamer Mobile at that point. Week 6, South Carolina at Florida, as we mentioned. Texas A&M at Missouri. The Red River Shootout, Texas and Oklahoma. Georgia is at Alabama. Goodness. LSU at Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Ole Miss at Vandy. You're torn between the big ones there. I'd probably go Georgia at Alabama.
Yeah, I would too.
I don't know why Alabama has had Georgia's number so much the past few years, but they have. Kirby cannot beat Alabama. He's beaten them once, and that was in a national title game, but that's it.
But looking back at last year's results, that's one of the more surprising ones, right?
Yes.
The fact that Alabama beat Georgia.
Yeah. Week 7, Mississippi State at LSU, Florida at Texas. That's the game that cost Texas the college football playoff last year, was losing at Florida. Auburn at Georgia, Deep South oldest rivalry. Missouri at Ole Miss, Kentucky at Oklahoma, Alabama at Tennessee. It is on the 3rd Saturday in October. Thank you, schedule makers. Arkansas at Vandy. I'm going to go Florida at Texas. Because as I said earlier, I think Florida is going to be one of the most improved teams in the country. And Texas should be right there, in the college football playoff. This could be a game that if Florida could win it, they could find themselves in some playoff discussion, at least in my June scenarios. Me with the scenarios. So we'll go with that one. Week 8, October 24th, LSU at Auburn, Tennessee at South Carolina, Vandy at Kentucky, A&M at Alabama, Oklahoma at Mississippi State, but the answer is Ole Miss at Texas.
Yes.
This was a miss, though, by the SEC schedule makers. This should be Texas at Ole Miss. It should be Arch Manning coming to Oxford. I can't believe Arch Manning is not going to play one game in Oxford before his college career is over. It's just despicable. Unless for some reason he comes back for another season at Texas, but I don't believe that he will. But we'll see. That's the answer.
That's got to be the one.
That's the answer. Halloween night or Halloween day, Auburn at Ole Miss, Florida, Georgia, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, Mississippi State at Texas, Missouri at Arkansas, South Carolina at Oklahoma. It's definitely the cocktail party. That's an easy one.
No, that's the Invesco QQQ Atlanta Gridiron Classic, you mean?
No, I meant what I said.
No, it's the Invesco QQQQ Atlanta Gridiron
When
Classic.
Invesco was putting money in Brian Haydad's pocket.
Not Nabisco. Nabisco. Invesco.
I'm the one who puts money in Nabisco's pocket. All right, I did. Yeah, I came out of the womb wanting to eat Oreos.
I put the bricks on this place.
And when they wanted a steak, never mind. I put a new wing on Peter Lucas. I was at look at him. My wife went to St. Louis and she stopped at like this World Food Mart thing. Uh-huh. She got some cinnamon roll Oreos. They're good.
Okay.
They're good. They're very good.
I'll take them.
Yeah, well, I absolutely would. Week 10, November 7th. Big slate here. Arkansas at Auburn, Texas at Missouri, A&M at South Carolina. Who could forget South Carolina having that, 31-3 halftime lead and then blowing it last year. Kentucky at Tennessee, Oklahoma at Florida, Vanderbilt at Mississippi State, but we got a coin flip here. I guess it just depends on what these teams are, but Alabama at LSU and Georgia at Ole Miss. I'll probably go Bama LSU, but
yeah, I think that's the more interesting one.
It could be Georgia Ole Miss. We just don't know what those teams are going to be, but those are your two options there. I'll go Alabama.
You have, even if one team has a few more losses than you were expecting, that rematch. Mm-hmm. Played twice last year, played the year before that. Yeah.
Georgia
become the battle.
and Ole Miss are playing each other about as often as Mississippi State and Georgia are playing. Thankfully, those Bulldogs are not on the football schedule this year. November 14th, Auburn at Mississippi State, Alabama at Vandy, Ole Miss at Oklahoma, Florida at Kentucky, South Carolina at Arkansas, Missouri at Georgia, Tennessee at Texas A&M, but the answer, again, with the LSU Tigers, Texas at LSU is probably the correct answer, at least as we sit here in June. Now we get to the week that nobody likes, Week 12. I mean, we don't have a lot of options here. Vandy at Florida, Texas A&M at Oklahoma, Arkansas at well, they got more than I thought. Arkansas at Texas, Kentucky at Missouri, Georgia at South Carolina, LSU at Tennessee. Texas A&M at Oklahoma is probably the answer for me.
Yeah.
That's an early kick, too. That'll be an 11 a.m. game. Rivalry week. I mean, the easy answer is the Egg Bowl, all right, just because we live here. But the overall answer,
Texas
A&M. Could be a playoff knockout game. You don't know. You never know. If those two teams are both come in with one or two losses, loser might be on the outside looking in. That's just a little fun look ahead. College football will be here before we know it. I'm looking forward to it. I know that you guys are as well. We'll wrap it up when we come back here on Sports Talk Mississippi.
Listen to it at work.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Sports Talk Mississippi on Super Talk Mississippi.
Did you get that memo?
Yes, sir.
Let's wrap things up with you here on a Thursday afternoon Sports Talk Mississippi. I'm Brian Haydad, Will Easton Studio X. If you haven't already subscribed to all of our family of podcasts here at Super Talk, please do so. They don't cost nothing, and you can get all the sports information you want. Sports Talk Mississippi, available in podcast form mere moments after we go off the air and with commercial free. So no ads. Then you can go, if you're a Mississippi State fan, the Thunder and Lightning podcast 5 days a week. The Rebel Report if you're an Ole Miss fan. The Eagle Hour if you're a Southern Mississippi fan. We've got you covered, no matter what team you cheer for here in the Magnolia State. If you're an LSU fan who lives in the Magnolia State, well, I can't help you. We've done everything we can, all right? That's on you.
We also have some religious podcasts on there for you. LSU
yes, I mentioned
too.
the Rebel Report and Thunder and Lightning.
Yes.
As we know, college football is our main religion here in the state of Mississippi. We have religious podcasts. Why have I not been invited to be on one of these? I've had 13 years of Catholic school. I know plenty about religion.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do. Yes.
Name all the descendants of Adam.
Huh? You know that scene in The Sopranos where they're beating up the guy who was Shlomo's son-in-law?
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever happened to the Romans? He's like, you're looking at them?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the descendants of Adam? You're looking at them. All right? I'm actually a descendant of Esau.
You have an Esau in your family?
No, but he was, Jacob's brother, son of Abraham.
Oh, I remember the song. Wasn't there a song?
I will now read to you from the book of Genesis.
Yeah, there's a big bunch of Genesis it's just listing people's names, isn't there?
Right. Genesis chapter 36, verse 35 through 36. He is listed among the kings of Edom. The text states that when King Husham died, Hadad, the son of Bedad, succeeded him as the ruler of Edom.
Hey.
He notably defeated the Midianites in the field of Moab and ruled from his royal city of Avith.
Hadad.
It's in the Bible. So, yes, you ask what happened to the descendants of Adam? You're looking at them. We're on the radio here in Mississippi. Everybody's favorite, America's sweetheart, Jordan Hudson. Just proof that women are something. Of course, it was reported by Pablo Torre that she had been banned or from North Carolina's football facility. So how did she strike back? The way she knows best, She made a massive public records request to the school a year after the report. She wanted, listen to this, she asked for call logs, voicemails, text messages, iMessages, WhatsApp messages, documents, Asana memos, I don't know what that is, Instagram DMs, Twitter messages, Zoom meetings, scheduled, fulfilled, and canceled, and of course, emails, including all attachments between January 29, 2025 and May 9, 2026, that include the words banned or ban. She also asked for records that includes the phrase request for comment alongside Pablo or Jordan, records that included a link to Torre's offending podcast episode, and all communications between named North Carolina staff and 8 reporters, including Pablo Torre, myself, and the Athletics' Brendan Marks. She also requested a document tracking press inquiries and other inquiries rated via text. Stoyer initially responded to Hudson's email, which came at 3 a.m, saying he would follow up with legal, but later informed her that her request could involve 800,000 pages of documents and would... I'm going to do the Borky thing real quick. Hold on. 800,000 pages of documents and could cost $8,000 apparently in North Carolina. Let me read this exactly here. This is from Awful Announcing. In North Carolina, public agencies are allowed to charge fees for requests that require, quote, extensive clerical or supervisory assistance. So when normally a person requests does a FOIA request. Let's say I wanted to do one for Mississippi State. I wanted to get Jeff Lebby's, any correspondence Jeff Lebby had with Will East over the last year, right?
Yep.
I could file that, and they would send it to me. But when you ask for that, the word ban is going to be in a lot of things.
Yeah.
800,000 pages of document. Yeah, make her pay. It should be more than $8,000, I'll be honest with you.
Somebody's just got to sit down with Bill Belichick and just be like, I'm not saying you got to go back to your original wife right now, but you got to go back. We got to keep up appearances.
We're not animal.
Okay.
We're not going to get divorced. All right?
Okay.
All right? Look, I'll talk to her. All right? I know just what to say to her.
She's coming over to my lawyer's office commiserating.
Yeah.
We can't have it.
I can't have it. So I know exactly what to say to her. And you're going to go home, and it's going to be beautiful.
It'll be just like when you were first married, your first Super Bowl run. It's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be beautiful, all right? Now, you're going to go down to Tampa with Mike Vrabel. You're going to do a thing for me down there. All right? You're going to go. All right. That's the way we end the show today. Now I got to turn my back on you, Will East. All right, back tomorrow. Plenty of talk as Ole Miss gets set for the College World Series. For Will East, I'm Brian Haydad. Thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you guys. Later.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.